Hello people, I'm Karishma Dumpala. Welcome to Global Online University. In today's lecture on literary criticism, we are going to talk about William Wordsworth and his literary criticism. William Wordsworth belongs to the period that witnessed a romantic revolt against the neoclassical movement, which means William Wordsworth belonged to the romantic period, okay? He was born in the year 1770 and died in the year 1850. Wordsworth himself was highly influenced by the spirit of French Revolution and the writing of Rousseau, who challenged everything that interfered with the natural right and liberty of man. Wordsworth was highly inspired with the ideas of Rousseau. He was a French thinker. Wordsworth's contribution to literary criticism lies chiefly in his preface to the second edition of the Lyrical Ballads, which was published by him along with his friend Samuel Taylor Coleridge. It was published in the year 1798. And one must remember that the year 1798, which marked the publishing of the book Lyrical Ballads, also marks the beginning of the Romantic period. Okay? Wordsworth in his preface discusses the question of poetic diction or the language fit for poetry, which had been the topic of heated discussion among the neoclassical and earlier writers. Wordsworth is very particular with the language one must use in the poetry, okay? He contradicted the ideas which were prevailed during the previous eras which existed before him, per se neoclassical era, okay? The neoclassical writers rejected low words and phrases as unfit for poetic justice. Dr. Johnson added to his list the use of technical words. To the neoclassical writers, the diction of poetry differed from that of prose by its happy combination of words or figures of speech. If you understand what I have said, the neoclassical writers wanted difference in language used in prose and poetry. They say that one must not use similar kind of language in prose and poetry. In poetry, one must employ many figures of speech, literary devices, and so on and so forth to, enhance the literariness in the poetry, which is the opinion of the neoclassical writers, right? Wordsworth recommended the use of simpler diction. Wordsworth contradicted what the neoclassical writers or thinkers thought about the language used in poetry, and he said one must use simpler language, by which he means one must write in such a way that even an uneducated man can understand what he is reading, okay? In the preface of the Lyrical Ballads, he says that his principal object in these poems is to choose incidents and situations from common life and to relate or describe them throughout as far as possible in a selection of language really used by men, and at the same time to throw over them a certain coloring of imagination in order to present even ordinary things in an unusual aspect. So he says that one must be able to write in a very common language, that is the language used by common people in their everyday life, and he also writes about the everyday situations, the real life situations, and Wordsworth adds a pinch of color of imagination to it to make them look unusual, okay? He rejected the personification of abstract ideas. He also ruled out any distinction between the language of poetry and that of prose. He says that you can use similar language, that is simple language, in both poetry and prose. But later, he contradicted himself, stating that the selection of the language spoken by men must be made with a true taste and feeling. He also admitted the possibility of what Johnson called flowers of speech arising in the process. All these features along with meter definitely make the language of poetry different from that of prose. In this context, Rene Wellek says Wordsworth actually ends in good neoclassicism. The second part of his preface contains the concept of poetry. To begin with, he defines poetry as a spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions. But as such, spontaneity gives no room for the selection of language really used by men. He modifies the definition saying the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings should take its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. In this process, the emotion originally aroused by the sight was recreated in contemplation. So what he was saying is, earlier he gave a definition that one should write poetry as a spontaneous overflow, okay? What we have seen, if the feeling is so powerful, we have a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, right? But then he contradicted himself. It's not contradicting, but he just kind of changed his emotion as, spontaneous overflow would not give that coloring of language to it. So he thought of changing the definition he gave earlier a little bit and changed his definition to spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings should take its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. In tranquility means in peace. That is, he says that one should remember what he feels in that moment where his spontaneous overflow was happening, and then he has to sit in peace and think and contemplate of what he has felt earlier and write poetry. And this process would, enhance his writing, right? This emotion then empowers the mind, driving away contemplation and the result in poetry. But by spontaneity in poetry, Wordsworth did not mean a total rejection of workmanship. So, he says that one must also have spontaneity, but try to contemplate so as to improve upon the workmanship on the poetry. To Wordsworth, the poet is a man speaking to men. So poetry should have a definite purpose apart from delighting the reader. Poetry is the pursuit of truth, of man's knowledge of himself and the world around him. Scientific truth benefits us materially, whereas the poetic truth becomes part of our existence. The poetic truths are felt in the blood and felt along the heart. So Wordsworth says poetry is the breath and finer spirit of all knowledge. It is the impassioned expression which is the countenance of all science. Poetry, according to Wordsworth, is a great force for good. Wordsworth wished to be considered only as a teacher. To him, every great poet is a teacher. Like Plato, he also wanted poetry to teach. But at the same time, he insisted on pleasure as being an essential condition of poetic teaching. Man, by nature, is a bundle of contradiction. So, Wordsworth, as a critic, is doubly so, is a man of contradictions, right? As you have seen, he says one thing and also he is not shying from contradicting what he said earlier, right? So, and before leaving, I would like to mention about the video lectures and the test series we are providing. The video lectures covering the syllabus will be made available for you here on YouTube and also the Global Online University app. Regarding the test series we are providing, the entire test series contains about 10 mock tests of 100 questions each, covering the entire syllabus, which would help you to cover the entire syllabus and also analyze your preparation and bring some changes if necessary. We are bringing the test series at affordable prices. The entire series containing 10 mock tests costs around 999 rupees for 6 months. To enroll, download the Global Online University app from the Play Store and select the category English. For further details, contact us on the numbers that are being displayed. I hope you understand whatever we have discussed in this video, and if you did, please do like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you. Signing off, Karishma Dumpala.